My eyes blinked open, and I was met with an intense, blinding white light. My mind was a labyrinth of confusion, with each thought struggling to find its way through the fog of disorientation. I couldn't remember how or why, but I found myself in a pristine hospital bed. An intricate web of tubes, wires, and needles protruded from my body, connecting me to an array of medical machinery that remained dormant. My hands acted instinctively, removing these foreign intrusions from my flesh. Despite the bewildering array of equipment surrounding me, my body felt surprisingly light and strong. There wasn't a single scratch or bruise on me, leaving me to question why I was in a hospital at all. I pushed myself upright and swung my legs over the bed's edge. The cool touch of the tiled floor against my bare feet was oddly refreshing. Sunlight flooded the room, drawing me to the window like a moth to a flame. The world outside was shrouded in brilliant daylight, yet something felt profoundly amiss. Streets below were devoid of people, roads barren of cars, just a world frozen in time. Questions swirled like a tempest within me, and my thirst for answers intensified with each passing moment. I resolved to venture into the hallway, hoping to encounter someone who could shed light on my situation. Stepping out of my hospital room, my bare feet produced a disconcerting slapping sound on the cold floor. Each step's hollow echo magnified the eerie atmosphere that had clung to me since I woke up. The hospital corridor seemed to stretch endlessly, its white walls and sterile ambience creating an unsettling uniformity. I peered into several rooms as I passed, each one empty and devoid of any signs of life. The beds were neatly made, the machines beside them silent. No patients, no doctors, no nurses. The only sound to accompany my footsteps was the low, persistent buzz of the fluorescent lights overhead. But then, a glimmer of hope washed over me as I approached the elevator at the end of the corridor. The silence was abruptly shattered by the familiar ding of its arrival. The doors slid open, and I stepped inside, pressing the button for the ground floor. With a subdued hum, the elevator began its gradual descent. However, it halted unexpectedly on the very next floor. My heart skipped a beat as the doors slid open once more, and a mysterious man entered. Tall and gaunt, he wore a sleek black suit that clashed starkly with this unsettling environment. His presence exuded cold indifference, yet felt strangely familiar. There was something about him, something that I couldn't quite put my finger on, but it made my skin crawl. I couldn't look away, even though I desperately wanted to. He remained motionless, making no attempt to press any buttons inside the elevator. I cleared my throat and asked, almost in a whisper, "Which floor are you going to?" He offered no response, no acknowledgement of my presence, maintaining his unbroken stare ahead. Desperation began to creep in as I pressed the button for the ground floor once more, determined to reach my destination and escape this stranger's unsettling company. Raising my voice, I inquired, "Where is everyone?" But he remained eerily silent. Each passing second felt like an agonizing eternity. The silence inside the cramped space was stifling, and I longed for the moment when this eerie ride would come to an end. Finally, the elevator reached the ground level. Its mechanical hum ceased, but the doors remained sealed shut. Panic welled up inside me, a rising tide of anxiety engulfing my every thought. I fumbled for the open door button, pressing it repeatedly in frantic desperation, but nothing happened. Each futile press only intensified my panic, and I began to shout for help, crying and begging for someone to open the door. Throughout my panic outbursts, the creepy man remained immobile, as if carved from stone. His demeanor never wavered, preserving an unsettling aura of eerie detachment. Amid my escalating panic and cries, he finally broke his silence. "Not yet. This is not your floor." His voice a stark contrast to the chaos that had consumed me. His cryptic words brought a brief moment of serenity amidst the storm. As he spoke, an unexplainable calm washed over me, soothing the overwhelming anxiety that had gripped me. It was a fleeting respite, a moment of peace. But my newfound composure was short-lived, for I soon realized that the elevator was once again descending. How is it possible? Or where are we going? I don't know. It didn't make any sense. Could this be the man's doing? It seemed plausible, given his cryptic message, eerie calmness, and apparent familiarity with this bizarre situation. Desperation welled up in me, and I grabbed the man's arm, hoping to extract some answers. As my fingers made contact, something unexpected happened. I remembered. Memories surged into my consciousness like a tidal wave, overwhelming my senses as I recalled the harrowing events that led me to the hospital. The vivid images flooded my mind with intensity, as if I were reliving every moment. I had been driving home from work, following my usual route, lost in the monotony of my commute. The memory was lively. Sunset casting long shadows, the radio softly crooning in the background, and the routine of the road. But then, in the blink of an eye, everything changed. Someone ran a red light at a busy intersection, plowing directly into the driver's side of my car. The impact was devastating. The shattered metal and broken glass became projectiles, piercing my body, with shards embedding deep within. Oddly, there was no pain, just warmth of the pouring blood. Amidst the chaotic wreckage, time itself slowed down, and for a brief, inexplicable moment, there was a profound stillness. It was as if the universe had paused, granting me a solitary respite amidst the chaos and destruction all around me. The tranquility was shattered when paramedics swarmed the scene, their voices rising in frantic urgency. Their shouts reverberated in my ears, their loud screams driving me to madness. Blinding flashes of light pierced through the haze, making me dizzy and disoriented. I remained seated in the mangled car, my consciousness teetering on the brink of oblivion. It was at that critical moment, amidst the tumult of voices and blinding lights, that I saw him. A tall, gaunt man in the black suit. The same man who now stands before me. Not yet. Those were the words he said to me before I fell unconscious and then awoke in this hospital. I sank to the elevator floor, overwhelmed by the stark realization that I shouldn't be standing here, unscathed after such a catastrophic accident. In response to my revelation, the elevator abruptly jolted to a halt, and a chilling bell sound marked our arrival. "This is your floor." The mysterious man spoke one last time. The doors slid open with an eerie hiss, revealing a surreal and nightmarish sight. A colossal gate, dark and foreboding, looming like an omen of doom. A mere glimpse of the gate filled me with profound unease, as though I stood on the precipice of an unfathomable abyss. The massive gate slowly creaked open, its ominous groans thunderous enough to topple buildings. A searing heat radiated from the gap, accompanied by a deafening chorus of anguished cries. I stared in horror at the raging flames beyond, flames that seemed to stretch into eternity, consuming everything in their path. The air itself was thick with ash, and an overwhelming sense of dread weighed upon me. Despair settled in my heart, for I knew exactly where I was. With my terrified, tear-welled eyes, I turned to the mysterious man. I found my voice, and with a plea for mercy, I uttered the only words I could. "Not yet."